Hello and welcome all of you to my YouTube channel on Animals and Pets with Partha. Well, today's episode is about dog game when I saw it from the early 70s. As you know, the dog game in India, of course, was started by the Britishers. And the Britishers actually taught dogs to the world. We had numerous British breeds of dogs, and of course there were a lot of German breeds and other breeds. So what happened, the KC London actually built up a wonderful standard. They grouped all these breeds into 7 different groups. Earlier it was 6, then it became 7 different groups, and very logically done these groups. And for all breeds of dogs, there was a specific standard as and when these dogs were being discovered or being they were bred in some countries, and you had a substantial number of this breed, and they look identical, they had identical characters. Then what happened? The British built up a standard. And of course, as you know, the world's most famous dog show even today is the Crufts. Of course, you can say that there are other dog shows quite big with a lot of representation, but just for a dog show being held in UK, Crufts, which is one of the possibly the most prestigious dog show in the universe for as long as I have known the dog game, from the times when I entered. Well, even today, people feel proud to be qualified for Crufts. Earlier, of course, there was no such qualification, but then the numbers grew so much it became unmanageable. And even at the biggest indoor stadiums, you couldn't manage unlimited number of dogs. So one had to qualify to become a Crufts qualified to contest in the dog show. Now let's come to the great judges. The great judges, of course, were all produced by England at one time, and then slowly, of course, the developed world, the countries like United States of America, then Australia and New Zealand, who were under the direct influence of Britishers, they started their kennel clubs. And of course, even today, they are run with great deal of effort and great deal of passion, and there are so much of great dog people in these countries that I just mentioned. Of course, somewhat, of course, also in South Africa, because there also the British influence was there, and you had clubs developed by the Britishers. So there are very devoted dog lovers. Now let's come to India. India, of course, went through the transition period when it was run by the British. Just after independence, most of the British started leaving India, and most of because they migrated to England, which was their home, because India was permanently given over to the Indians as an independent country. And then what happened was, in those British era, there were shiploads of dogs, and of course other animals also, that would be coming to India because the British people were there in huge numbers, because India was such a great country to live in. It has so much of variety. It had the mountains to go and have, for your summer stays, and then you had this beautiful British cities, like England, like Calcutta, of course, was the most gorgeous city in those days, and you still have a lot of structures, plenty of them, that you would only be able to see in England, which was, of course, that is the legacy that has been left by the Britishers for us. Now the dog world. The dog world, the transition period, the British started leaving, they left their dogs, then the shiploads of dogs stopped coming, and then of course there was a period when slowly but certainly we started having policies, and we started importing dogs. And of course, for importing dogs, you needed to have money. So there were some Indians who started making money, business and other things, and they started importing dogs. And once they imported these dogs, they showed them at the dog game centers that were present in those days, like the Mysore Kennel Club, the South of India Kennel Club, the Calcutta Kennel Club, of course. The Calcutta dog game was vibrant in those days, and then you had there's a lot of kennel clubs that even started happening, like kennel clubs in all over the major cities around the world, around India. And then what happened was we used to bring in a lot of these judges because they would come on a circuit, they would judge 2-3 shows in India and go. So we had to actually write to judges a year ahead, and we started getting the good ones. We had some of the greatest judges coming to India, like Mr. Stanley Dangerfield, Andrew Thompson. The judges, as I was just mentioning, like Stanley Dangerfield, Andrew Thompson, and then we had judges like even Prince Ahmed Hussain used to stay in England, but he was an Indian judge by records, and not only that, because he became a judge when India was undivided, and then when British left, they divided India, but he was already a judge in the British era. And then, of course, we had a lot of Indians who were judges in the British era, like one of them was my mentor, Mr. R.P. Mita. And I wouldn't be able to name others, who I think most of them were judges in independent India. But at that point of time, we had great personalities heading the Kennel Club. We had His Highness the Maharaja Jaideep Singh of Baria, who was the chairman of the Kennel Club of India. And these are the way that our dog game, who actually taught Indian dog game to be a national dog game, and they developed dog world all across the country. But then, of course, our dog world fell into very bad hands until up to 1995, when we had the biggest ever dog show in this country, which was organized by Mr. Ashutosh Dayal Sharma of Delhi. He was the son of then President of the country, late Mr. Shankar Dayal Sharma. Of course, Ashutosh Dayal Sharma was indeed a great blessing to the Indian dog game, who not only traveled with his dog all across the country and built a lot of importance to this dog game center wherever he went, because he was then the son of the president of the country. And of course, you can understand that the amount of enthusiasm, the amount of curiosity, and the amount of focus these dog shows received because of his presence was stupendous. Then, of course, after 1995, where we totaled an entry of 1,200, more than 1,200 dogs, and I was fortunate, and I was honored to be part of the dog game organization, as I was one of the busy ring stewards. I not only was the ring steward for the German judge for the entire German Shepherd show, but then following that was the All-Breed show, and it was really a great occasion to be a part of. Then, of course, our dog game completely got ruined because some people, unscrupulous people, got hold of this game and exploited it to the hilt. They made this syndicate who actually came into this game. He actually made all these judges, and then, of course, he not only did he take a huge sums of money from people, but a lot of people had to satisfy, oblige him with whatever he wanted. And it's very sad for our dog game. And today we don't have entries, only we have sponsors. Of course, the show is all glam and glitter. Of course, there are no dearth of big trophies, and the judges are flying in. Of course, most of the judges are coming from this European company, and most of them are corrupt, except a few, of course, which are brilliant judges. And then these corrupt judges, they not only come here and have a great time, enjoy a holiday and all that, and go back and send another set of corrupt judges. And all these corrupt judges are actually handled by the syndicate and his associates. And they, every show has now different sponsors. The corruption has spread to such magnitude that it's very evident, and nobody has faith on these dog shows anymore. And there is no glory in being a part of it. I, of course, started judging dogs many years ago, but then lately, of course, for no reason except very personal, which is obvious, as I tell you, that in this complete corrupt scenario, the dog game that is having in this, that you have in this country, is no honor to judge a dog show, because the moment you walk into the dog show, whatever, they know that you are a corrupt person. You have your own connections, and that is what you're going to do. You're going to put up dogs for money. First, you got to put up a set of dogs which will actually has been names that have been supplied to you by the club, because the club has to realize all your expenses, your huge judging fees, and all the looking after and all that. So that's the first contract. So once you finish with the contract, then you have on the side, if you're an Indian judge, you pick up other clients. You have other, get maybe a challenge certificate here, maybe in this breed and that breed, and a reserve in group or whatever, or a placing, say you have 4 or 5 top awards to be given, but you have still spare 3 or 4 places. So you just give them in the down line, and there's huge money coming from the side. So this is the situation in this country, which is extremely sad. And the great judges, let me tell you, I will come to that in my next episode, are slowly but certainly we are running out of them, and soon we will not have any great judges that, in my opinion, are great. Because I have seen some of the finest judges in the world, and I've also had the privilege of judging even with American judge Maxwell Riddle in Kodaikanal in the late 80s. And of course, I have had the opportunity of meeting some of the greatest in the dog game, in my opinion, of course. That is Graham Head and Bill Crowley, and from Melbourne, which a show, that the Melbourne Royal Show that I judged in 1989. And of course, I also had the great privilege of closely knowing Dr. Harold Spira. Then I had the great privilege of knowing other great judges also from Australia and New Zealand, particularly. And among the British judges with whom I had long hours of conversation, and I really cherish those moments, late Mr. Staley Dangerford. Anyway, with these words, I will stop today, and I will talk about dog judging. I don't consider myself a great dog judge, not at all. But I do consider myself that I am a learner. I am, it's such a vast subject. It gives me a lot of pleasure to devote a lot of time in thinking about dogs, seeing the great dogs being shown, studying their standards. It's just that, the pleasure, that because this has been my passion and never a profession. Thank you, and bye-bye.